Hello, 7th grade. Well, here we are again, and hope you did okay with surface area of solids. And so now we're going to take a look at volume. All right. So you should remember that volume is now how much is in a three-dimensional object. Okay. And so if you look at it, when we were just doing a flat object, we were doing area. And that was base times height, right? That was area. So now, when we're going to a three-dimensional object, okay, now we've got the base time or length times width times height. And so when you're looking at a three-dimensional object, like when you're looking at page 414, the first thing it's showing you is the cube. And so when you're looking at the cube, all right, now we've got the base or length, we've got the width, and we've got the height. So now, again, we call this a cube. So now we're not looking at how many squares will fit in it, but we're looking at how many cubes. So they first of all talk about a cube that's 1 centimeter on each side. So the base has an area of 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter. That would be 1 centimeter squared. But now when you take the height, it's also 1 centimeter tall from the base to the top. And so then that's 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter. And so that would be centimeter cubed. That's why we call it cubed. Okay, so for you motor heads, cubic inches is just exactly that. It's looking at how many cubes 1 inch on each side would fit inside those cylinders. Okay, so anytime we're talking about volume, we're talking about cubic units. So length times width times height. Okay, and so that's what they're showing you. First of all, is the volume of a cube that measures 1 centimeter on each side. That's 1 cubic centimeter. Actual in our little base 10 blocks, that smallest little square, or not really a square, it's a cube. That's 1 centimeter on each side. So that actually is a cubic centimeter. Okay? So when you go over and you're looking at page 415, and you're looking at the example 1, notice that it has a base that measures 4 centimeters this way and 2 centimeters this way. You can see that up on the top, okay? And then it shows it 3 centimeters high, all right? So the base would be 4 centimeters times 2 centimeters, which would be 8 centimeters squared. And then you take that times the height, which is 3 centimeters, so that would be 24 cubic centimeters. And a cubic centimeter, just like a square centimeter, a cubic centimeter would be like excuse me, like that. Okay? So, as long as you have a square or rectangle, it's the volume is length times width times height. The two sides of the base multiplied together times the height. So you're getting that answer in cubic units. All right? So that's what you're looking at in the first part of that. Now, you look down in the middle of the page, and it's talking about the volume of a triangular pyramid. Okay? So think about that. Notice on example 1, and if you think about what we were looking at first, we're calling that a rectangle or a cube, but it's actually, what is that? It's a square or rectangular prism. Okay? So think about that. You're finding the volume of that rectangular prism. Okay? Now think about a triangular prism. Okay? A triangular prism. And that triangular prism, well, what do we know about a triangle and a rectangle? A triangle is 1/2 of a rectangle. And we've already looked at the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 of the area of the rectangle. Okay? So that's why to find the area of a triangle, you're doing 1/2 the base times the height. So here, where we're finding the volume, okay, a volume of that rectangular prism, okay, is base times width times height. All right? So when you have a triangular prism, okay, we're looking at, what do you think it's going to be? Half of, it's going to be half the volume of a rectangular prism. So that's why when you see there in example 2, you're finding the area, okay, finding the area of the triangle, okay, and so you're still taking 1/2 the base times the height. Now, they're calling that, let me grab an example here. They're calling that, to do this, they're taking this triangular prism and they're turning it up like that. So the triangle is the base 1 and base 2. Okay? So that's what they're doing. It's sitting like this, but they're calling this the base. All right? So what we're doing, we're taking 1/2 the base times the height, or sorry, 1/2 the base times the height this way, and that's going in under B for base, because we're finding the area of the base. Okay, when you turn it up like that, that falls out. Besides that, this and this are the bases. So we're just taking one of them, the area of one base. Okay? And then, if you're sitting like this would be the height. Now, think about it. If that's the height, turn it over like this, and notice in your picture, that looks like it's the length of the bottom. Okay? But they're not using that as the base, they're using this as the base. They're using this as the base, and they're calling this side here, this edge, they're calling that the height. So they're taking 1/2 the base times the height of the triangle. All right? And then turning it up like this, they're taking this as the height. So you're taking the area of the triangle times the height. It's just like on this, I took the area of this square or rectangle, okay, the area, this, okay, and this, but then if that's the base, I'm using this as the height. Okay, so just think of, again, think of the, when we were doing area, the area of a rectangle was length times width, and the area of a triangle was 1/2 the length times the width. So once you have the area of the base, think of it this way, once you have the area of the base, then you also then take that times the height. And so that is the area of the base times the height. And that will give you your cubic units. That will give you the volume. Now, don't get confused and try to do the 1/2 the base times the height and do two of them because there's two triangles, two bases, okay? Just like when you were doing the volume of this, you just found the area of one of the bases times the height, okay? I hope that makes sense to you, all right? So then, if you look over on page 418, then you've got, again, you've got some other types of figures there, okay? You're gonna, again, however that looks to you, whatever piece it's sitting on, that's your base. Find the area of that base, okay? And then take that times the height, and that will give you your volume. And remember, it's going to be in cubic units, all right? Now, when you do get to number 42, all right, and you're looking at that, all right, you're taking, you have to look at this and think about then what's your base, okay? If I were going to do it, I would take that, it looks like a complex figure because it's a rectangle and a triangle, okay? I would use that for my base. And then I would find the area of the rectangle, and I'd find the area of the triangle, add those two together, and then that 10 inches, that would actually be the height. If you took that figure and laid it over on its side, I think you'll find that that's a little bit easier for you. And in 43, you're going to have to find the volume of the whole rectangular prism, and then you're going to have to find the volume of that center rectangular prism and subtract it, because that's like there's a hole there. So there's no volume there. You have to subtract the volume of the smaller rectangular prism from the larger rectangular prism, and that will give you the volume of that rectangular prism with a hole in it. Okay? So hope that helps you. Look at this, look at the slides, the Google Slides, and the video from the publisher, and hopefully between those things you can answer, you can figure it out. If you have questions, let's try asking me out on Google Classroom, and it's going to be easier for me to see that if you don't have the other stuff out there. Some of you are still using this just to try and chit chat, or posting something that says, hey, go to this link if you want to hang out, okay? the more I get of that, the harder it is for me to see the questions that are being asked of me. Okay, so you'll notice now, if I see some of that other just chit-chat stuff, as soon as I see it, I delete it. So that the only thing I can see is your questions for me. All right? So, hope that helps, and we'll see you out here tomorrow. Okay? Take care.